Welcome to Culturally Dysfunction. Y'all won't believe I did sit up here and did the whole video and didn't hit record. So I'm back again with the story. So I got to chop up the first one as a rehearsal. But today I want to talk about these two people. You have Rosa Parks, Claudette Colvin. Okay, we know the story of the bus boycott. The famous picture, the famous person, you know, the whole story. Even got the museum, the bus. But it's something about that whole story that a lot of people are unaware of. And I'm here to shed some light on it. Yes, culturally dysfunctional. Because this is some dysfunctional stuff here. To me. Okay. All right. I gotta go to my Android. But yeah, I'm gonna tell you about it. The whole famous picture of the bus boycott, it was staged. Yes, it was staged. Acted, playwright. Not true. Just a picture co-op for history. To make us all believe that this is where it started from. But nope, it's not where it started from. See, Claudette Colvin was the lady that refused to give up her seat on the bus. She's the real one. But she didn't get any credit, no recognition or nothing. She got diminished, defamed, tore down. But she is the real deal, the real person. And I just hate when our people pull a wool over our eyes, these smoking mirrors, present something to us as truth when they know it is a lie. Yeah, when they know it is a lie. Why not give the credit to where the credit is due? That's just like me saying, I can come up here and tell y'all something, facts, truth about something, but my word gonna go in your ear, come out the other one, whatever, don't mean nothing. But a celebrity or somebody can come along and say this exact same words, the same phrase and everything. He gonna get hurrahs, cheers, and everything. But I get no credit. But here in this case, she did it. She gets no credit. Here, an employee of the NAACP since 1943 takes the credit, the picture, the history, the books, you know, all that. Rosa Parks was introduced to Claudette Colvin, basically to let her know that, hey, I will be the face. Claudette didn't care. She just wanted to make a change. But I do. Because there's got to be, whether she said it or not, it's got to be a hurt feeling knowing that you did something that changed the world and somebody else gets your recognition, gets your credit. I mean, Rosa Parks been out to the Obama done awarded her and all this different stuff. You know, a museum, wax figure at the museum, this history that all the kids and people hear about every year. when it should have been her face. That's sad. Why do a person like that? Why give us the smoke and mirror? Okay. Let me go to it. The photograph of Rosa Parks was taken by Gene Hendrick, an Associated Press photographer, and distributed over the APA wire service to newspapers around the country. Imagine that you are a newspaper editor in 1956 who supports the boycott and the growing civil rights movement. What I'm reading to you comes from the New York Times. This is the photographer that took the picture. Okay. See, in 1943, Rosa Parks joined the Montgomery NAACP and became its secretary, reuniting with her former classmate, Johnny Carr, with E.D. Nixon. She investigated cases involving police brutality, rape, murder, and discrimination. See, me, I'm already thinking Rosa Parks had a car. It wasn't a need for her to ride the bus. See, Colvin did not receive the same attention as Parks for a number of reasons. She did not have good hair. She was not fair skinned. She was a teenager and she was pregnant. But Claudette said later on in the interview that she was not pregnant at the time. The leaders in the civil rights movement tried to keep up appearance and make the most appealing protester the most seen, which is Rosa Parks. So, Claudette Colvin, a full 9 months before Rosa Parks' famous act of civil disobedience, 15 years old, Claudette Colvin is arrested on March 2nd, 1955 for refusing to give up her seat on a segregated Montgomery, Alabama bus. Who sat behind Rosa Parks on the bus was Nicholas C. Chris. He was a journalist. The man sitting behind her as being identified as Nicholas C. Chris, a reporter of United Press International. Ms. Parks later told her biographer, Brinkley, that she had been reluctant to pose but agreed because the civil rights community members also wanted a photo to represent the moment of change. But that wasn't the moment of change. It was the stage play for change. While the photograph is often taken to be a snapshot of a spontaneous act of revolt, it is actually the product of a planned photo shoot that took place on December 21st, 1956, the day after the Montgomery bus system was integrated. After the Supreme Court had made its decision. It's a whole year later. Nicholas C. Chris was, like I said, he was a reporter. He was asked by the photographer from Look magazine to sit behind Parks to dramatize the events. Arthur Douglas Brinkley, who wrote a biography on Parks, noted that it was 100% stage event. It was a 100% stage event. Okay. I'm going to share the pictures with you. Go back to the... Okay. I'm reading from the New York Times now. It was Ridgewood, New Jersey, December 5th. Almost everyone has seen the famous study in black and white. One of those rare photographs that entered the collective memory as a snapshot, not of a moment, but of an era and maybe something more, is now on almost any bus in New York City and many of its suburbs. An invitation not to just to remember, but to reflect. At the front of a bus previously reserved for white riders is Rosa Parks' face turned to the window. To her left, seemingly lost in thought as she rides through Montgomery, Alabama. In the seat behind her is a young white man looking to his right, his face hard, almost expressionless. The only figures visible on the bus seem a few inches and a universal apart, each seemingly looking at and for something utterly different. Everyone knows her. No one knows him except for Catherine and Chris, his daughter. And like his identity hidden in plain sight, unknown even to the veterans of that era still. The man on the bus, Nicholas C. Chris, was not some irritated Alabama segregationist preserved for history, but a reporter working at the time for United Press International out of Atlanta. He died of an aneurysm at 62 in 1990. Miss Parks died in 92 on October 24, a few weeks short of the 50th anniversary of her refusal to give up her seat on the bus to a white man. Everyone knows her, no one knows him, except for Catherine Chris, his daughter. And like his identity hidden in plain sight, unknown even to the veterans of that era still living, was almost telling about the real story of the black woman and the white man is how much of what we think we know is what we read into the picture, not what's there. Miss Chris, a journalist now raising her 3 young daughters, wrote a poem last month about the picture and the way her father became the white man, the angry man, the one who looks like he's a banger but isn't. In the last few years, she's been amazed at how visible the picture has become. It's everywhere, said Miss Chris, whose family moved to Ridgewood from California in 2004. Apple used it in their campaign. Think different. A friend called and said she saw the post on the bus, the whole bus. It's on the bus my daughter Elysian takes to school now. Allison. When Allison was in 2nd grade, her classroom had that border with African-American heroes and leaders, and there's the picture. She told her teacher that was her granddad up there. She didn't believe her. Miss Chris, who also worked for the Los Angeles Times and the Houston Chronicle, publicly disclosed his role in the picture just once. It was 3 paragraphs in the middle of a 2,183-word article he wrote for the Chronicles in 1986 about his experience covering the civil rights movement. He explained that the picture was taken on December 21st, 1956, the day after the United States Supreme Court ruled Montgomery's segregated bus system illegal. Actually, the ruling had come a month earlier, but it was not until December 20th that the district court entered the order putting it into effect. He said he boarded the bus in downtown Montgomery and that he and Miss Parks were the only riders up front. He wrote, "It was a historic occasion. I was then with the United Press International Wire Service, AUPI. Photographer took a picture of Miss Parks on the bus. It shows a somber Miss Parks seated on the bus, looking calmly out the window. Seated just behind her is a hard-eyed white man. Each anniversary of that day, this photograph is brought out of musty files and used in various publications around the world, but to this day, no one has ever made clear that it was a reporter. Covering this event and sitting behind Miss Park, not some sullen white segregationist. It was a great scoop for me, but Miss Park had little to say. She seemed to want to savor the event alone, but his role in the picture was not included in his obituary. In an interview with almost dozens of veterans of that era, historians, reporters, photographers, book publisher, the Montgomery civil rights lawyer Fred Gray, who represented Miss Parks in the court, did not turn up a single one who knew the man's identity. Still, if little known, the history of the picture is explored in at least one source, the biography of Rosa Parks by Douglas Brinkley, first published in 2000 as part of the Pigeon Live series of biography. Mr. Brinkley said Miss Parks told him that she had left her home at the Cleveland Courts housing project specifically for a picture on a bus, and that the idea was for her to be seated in the front of the bus with a white man behind. Similar photos opportunities were arranged for Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and others during the day. He said Mr. Chris then agreed to sit behind her for the purpose of the picture. Mr. Brinkley does not identify Mr. Chris in the book and says that a reporter and 2 photographers from Look magazine arranged for the picture. He and Miss Parks told him she was reluctant to take part in the picture, but both the journalists and the members of the civil rights community wanted an image that would dramatize what had occurred. It was completely 100% staged event. Mr. Brinkley said there was nothing random about it. But then the images and history of that era, so stark and powerful on their own, are seldom so simple. For starters, many people assume the famous picture of Miss Parks captures the events of 1955. When she refused to, give up the seat. The other famous images of her, a mugshot and pictures of her being fingerprinted, don't date to December 1st, 1955 either. They were taken on February 22nd, 1956, after about 100 black Montgomery residents were indicted on charges that they violated a local anti-boycott statute. Miss Park was not the first black bus rider in Montgomery to refuse to give up her seat. 2 other women, Claudette, Colvin, and Mary Lewis Smith, had done it previous months. But Miss Park's case became the one the legal challenge was based upon. The Triumph case from Montgomery that declared the city's segregated bus system illegal was not based on her case, but on that of 4 other plaintiffs, including Miss Colvin and Miss Smith. And rather than a simple seamstress who dared to think different, Miss Parks was a longtime NAACP activist who went to the famous Highlander Folk School to learn about social change and launched regularly with Mr. Gray, the civil rights lawyer. None of that diminished the achievement or her life, just perhaps the true story of the picture. The other famous image of her mugshot and pictures of her being, none of this diminished the achievement of her life, just as perhaps the true story of the picture need not detract from its power. It's just a reminder that history is almost always more complicated and surprising than the image that most effectively tell its story. Mr. Gray, now 74, says the picture reflects reality, even if the moment it captured wasn't entirely real. What it says is true. It said that 381 days of walking had accomplished something historic, so that instead of her getting up to, well, y'all want to know more? Y'all got to go read it yourself. It's in the New York Times. So, there you have it. A staged event for history for us to believe. How much more in history was staged and photographed and portrayed as to be the truth to lie to us? Not give the people who deserve the credit and give it to other people because they look not like us. No, but they don't look like that person. They want this clean image, this person. When you don't want to give the credit to the right person. Why? All that, that credit in that history and that museum and these flyers and this stuff in the books, and that's supposed to be Claudette Colvin, not Rosa Parks. Why take her credit, her achievement? What she endured. Rosa Parks didn't ride a bus, did she? Don't get mad at me. I just read. But thanks for tuning in to Culturally Dysfunctional. You can always go look for yourself. Look at the data. It's there. Look at the pictures. Not a bruise. You think they asked her to get out the bus and she refused that she gonna take pictures and all that, no scratch, no bruise, not a missing her or nothing? Come on now. Picture's too clean. But culturally dysfunctional. That's some dysfunctional stuff. Why they lie to us? Why they lie to us? Come on, man. Be truthful. You want our kids to learn the history. Learn about history. When the history is a stage play. It's a fake. It's not the truth. How can you learn history when history is not history? It's not history if it's smoke and mirrors. It's not the truth. We was told this, fed this. Now, how can we trust you? Culturally dysfunctional. Yeah, it's the big guy. And I'm out.